Chapter 10. Moving forward. The morning sunlight streamed through the hospital room's window, painting everything in a soft golden glow. The sterile white walls of the room felt a little less oppressive under the warmth of the light, and the faint sounds of chirping Pidgey outside added a touch of serenity to the scene. May was sitting up in bed, her chestnut hair neatly tied back with her signature red bandana. Her cheeks, once pale and sallow, now had a healthy flush, and her blue eyes sparkled with energy as she chatted with her friends. Ash, Brock and Max were gathered around her, filling the small room with their usual banter. Pikachu, perched contentedly on Ash's shoulder, nibbled on a berry it had swiped from Brock's bag earlier. Max sat cross-legged on a chair, flipping through a magazine he clearly wasn't reading, occasionally chiming in with sarcastic quips. "All right, May," Brock said, stepping forward with a tray of food balanced carefully in his hands. He set it down on the small table beside her bed. "Doctor's orders. You need to eat something hearty to keep your strength up." May eyed the tray suspiciously. The bowl of soup sitting in the middle of it was practically glaring back at her. "Ugh, more soup," she groaned, wrinkling her nose in distaste. "I feel like that's all I've been eating for days. Doesn't anyone around here believe in solid food?" Brock crossed his arms, feigning an authoritative tone. "It's either this, or you can try Max's cooking." Max immediately perked up, his head snapping up from the magazine. Hey, my cooking isn't that bad." Ash smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Oh, really? Remember the time you made that poker block casserole?" He made air quotes with his fingers, his grin widening. "You know, the one that looked like it had been through a flamethrower attack." Max groaned, grabbing a pillow and chucking it at Ash. "It wasn't burnt. It was just, well done. Well done." Ash caught the pillow mid-air, laughing. "Max, I'm pretty sure even Magcargo would have needed a glass of water after eating that thing." May giggled, shaking her head at the familiar back and forth. "All right, fine," she said, cutting in before Max could respond. "I'll take the soup." "Thanks, Brock." She gave him a grateful smile as she reached for the spoon. "Smart choice," Brock said with a grin. "I'd rather not have to call the nurse for food poisoning." As May sipped the soup, her gaze drifted to the ribbon sitting on the nightstand beside her bed. Its shimmering blue and gold embroidery caught the sunlight, the delicate threads glinting like tiny stars. She put the spoon down for a moment and reached out to pick up the ribbon, her fingers brushing over the smooth fabric. "I still can't believe you won this," May said softly, turning the ribbon over in her hands. Her voice had lost its usual playfulness, replaced by something quieter, more serious. She looked up at Ash, her expression earnest. "Ash, I don't even know how to thank you. You didn't just help me. You kept my dream alive." Ash froze, his hand halfway to scratching the back of his neck, a nervous habit Brock and Max had teased him about countless times. He felt his cheeks grow warm under May's gaze, and he quickly looked away, trying to downplay the moment. "It was no big deal," he said, shrugging. "I just didn't want you to miss out on something so important to you." "No big deal." Max cut in, leaning forward in his chair with a mischievous grin. "Ash, you wore a skirt. You danced on stage. You somehow managed not to trip over your own feet or embarrass yourself in front of an entire audience. That's a huge deal." "Max," May said, rolling her eyes, though the corners of her mouth twitched with amusement. "All right, fine," Max said, holding up his hands in mock surrender. "But, seriously, Ash, you were awesome out there. I mean, I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it myself." Ash waved a hand dismissively, though the small smile on his face betrayed how much the praise meant to him. "I just wanted to make sure you didn't lose your shot," he said, his tone softening. "You've worked so hard for this, May. I couldn't let all that effort go to waste." May's gaze softened, and she reached out to place her hand over Ash's. Her grip was gentle but firm, and the sincerity in her eyes made Ash feel like he was under a spotlight all over again. "Thank you, Ash," she said, her voice steady but full of emotion. "You're not just a great trainer, you're a great friend." Ash blinked, unsure how to respond. He glanced at Brock, who gave him an encouraging nod, and then at Max, who was smirking like he was about to make another joke. Finally, Ash settled for his usual grin, rubbing the back of his neck. "Anytime, May. But next time, you're doing the dancing." May burst out laughing, the sound bright and infectious. "Deal," she said, shaking her head. "I think we can all agree you've earned a break from wearing heels." "Thank you," Ash said, rolling his eyes dramatically. "I don't know how you walk in those things without breaking an ankle." "You get used to it," May replied with a playful shrug. Then, as if a thought struck her, she added with a smirk, "Although, I bet you'd look great in heels if you practiced more." Max nearly fell out of his chair laughing. "Oh man, May, you're killing me." "Not funny," Ash said, though he couldn't help cracking a grin. "I'm officially retiring from anything involving skirts, heels, or sparkles. Forever." "Forever's a long time," Brock said with a teasing smile. "Yeah, and I mean it," Ash shot back, though his tone was light. He leaned back in his chair, Pikachu hopping onto his lap and nuzzling him affectionately. May held the ribbon close to her chest, her smile softening. "I still can't believe you actually did all that for me," she said quietly. "You really went above and beyond, Ash. I'll never forget it." Brock cleared his throat, breaking the moment before it could get too emotional. "All right, enough mushy stuff. May, finish your soup. And Ash, try not to let all this praise go to your head." "Too late," Max muttered, earning a laugh from everyone in the room. As the morning sunlight continued to stream through the window, the group settled into an easy rhythm of conversation and laughter. For May, it was a relief to finally feel like herself again, surrounded by her friends. And for Ash, despite the teasing, there was a quiet satisfaction in knowing he'd done something right, even if it had meant walking a mile in May's boots. Later that afternoon, the group decided to take a walk around the hospital gardens. The sprawling greenery was a welcome change from the sterile white walls of the hospital, and the sunshine felt like a warm hug after days of being cooped up inside. The air was crisp and fresh, carrying the faint scent of blooming flowers, and it seemed to do wonders for May. With each step, her energy seemed to return, her cheeks glowing with a healthy flush. Beautifully fluttered lazily above them, its delicate wings shimmering in the sunlight. On the ground, Pikachu and Max's Munchlax darted around each other in a chaotic game of tag that involved more stumbling and tripping than actual running. Ash walked beside May, his hands tucked casually into his pockets, his gait relaxed but alert. Brock and Max hung back a little, giving them space, though Max occasionally cast a mischievous glance their way, as if waiting for an opportunity to jump into the conversation. For a while no one spoke. The soft rustle of leaves and the distant chirping of bird Pokémon filled the silence, and it was nice. Comfortable. Wow. "You know," May finally said, breaking the quiet, "when Max first told me you were going to pretend to be me, I thought he was joking." Ash laughed, kicking a small pebble off the path. "Yeah, so did I. When Brock brought out that potion, I thought I was about to be turned into a muck or something." May giggled at the mental image, covering her mouth with her hand. "You must have been so nervous." "You have no idea," Ash admitted, shaking his head. "The walking, the dancing, the talking. It was like trying to learn how to battle all over again, but with heels. And a skirt," May added, smirking as she glanced sideways at him. Ash groaned, his face scrunching up like he'd just bitten into a particularly sour berry. "And a skirt," he echoed, his tone dripping with mock defeat. "Don't remind me. I'm still having nightmares about it. I swear I can still feel the breeze." May burst out laughing, the sound so warm and genuine that Ash couldn't help but grin despite his faux suffering. I mean, Ash continued, his voice exaggeratedly dramatic, do you know how many times I almost fell flat on my face? Those boots should come with a warning label. Oh, I know, May teased, her eyes sparkling. I've seen you trip over your own shoelaces. Watching you try to balance in heels must have been a show all on its own. You're not wrong, Ash admitted with a chuckle. Max couldn't stop laughing during practice. I think at one point he was actually crying. Sounds about right, May said, shaking her head. But seriously, Ash, you pulled it off. I mean, you actually won. Ash shrugged, trying to play it cool, though the small smile on his face betrayed his pride. I just didn't want you to miss out on something so important to you. And, you know, beautifully did most of the work. I just followed along and tried not to look too much like a total idiot. May stopped walking and turned to face him, her expression softening. The playful smile she'd been wearing faded into something quieter, more serious. Ash, I mean it. What you did, stepping into my shoes like that, it wasn't just about the contest. You showed me how much you care. And that means a lot to me. Ash froze for a moment, caught off guard by the sudden sincerity in her voice. He scratched the back of his head, a nervous habit May had seen 100 times before, and looked away, his cheeks heating up just slightly. Well, I couldn't just sit back and do nothing, he said, his voice a little quieter. You're part of the team, May. We all help each other out when it counts. May's smile widened, her eyes shining with gratitude. Yeah, but this was different. You didn't just help me, you became me. That takes a lot of guts. Ash chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. It wasn't that bad. I mean, once I stopped falling over every 5 seconds. May grinned, crossing her arms. Oh, please. I bet you were counting the seconds until you could get out of that outfit. You have no idea, Ash said, laughing. The second I got back to normal, I felt like throwing those boots into the nearest lake. Don't you dare, May said, feigning outrage. Those boots are designer. Ash raised his hands defensively. All right, no lakes. But only because I don't want you making me wear them again. May laughed again, the sound light and musical. Still, thank you, Ash. I'll never forget this. Ash grinned, his usual confidence returning. Hey, what are friends for? Friends who wear skirts for you. May quipped, raising an eyebrow. Ash groaned. Okay, are we ever going to let that go? Not a chance, May said, smirking. It's too good. Behind them, Max and Brock were watching the exchange with amused expressions. They're never going to stop teasing him about this, are they? Brock asked, crossing his arms. Not in a million years, Max replied, grinning. And I'll make sure of it. Beautifully swooped down from above, landing gracefully on May's shoulder. She reached up to gently stroke its wings, her smile softening again. Hey, Ash, she said after a moment. Yeah. May turned to him, her expression warm. No matter how much I tease you about this, I want you to know, you really are a great friend. And I'm lucky to have you. Ash blinked, caught off guard again. He rubbed the back of his neck, laughing nervously. Thanks, May. But, can we go back to talking about how great Beautifully was? I think it deserves most of the credit here. Nice try, May said, laughing. But you're not getting out of this that easily. Pikachu, who had been watching the whole exchange from Ash's shoulder, let out a cheerful peeker, as if it agreed. Traitor, Ash muttered, earning a laugh from everyone. As they continued their walk through the gardens, the playful teasing and easy laughter filled the air, blending perfectly with the sunlight and the gentle rustling of the leaves. The following morning, the city was bathed in the soft light of dawn, and the streets were just beginning to stir. The group gathered outside the Pokémon Center, their bags packed and ready for the journey ahead. A crisp breeze rustled the trees lining the sidewalk, carrying with it the promise of a fresh start. May stretched her arms over her head, a gleam of excitement shining in her eyes. She looked completely revitalized, the picture of energy and determination. After days of being stuck in a hospital bed, she was more than ready to hit the road again. "All right, team," Brock said, unfolding a map and studying it with his usual precision. "The next town is about 3 days' travel from here. If we leave now and keep a good pace, we should make it there by the weekend." "Sounds good to me," Ash said, tilting his cap into its usual position. He adjusted the straps on his backpack, a familiar look of eagerness spreading across his face. "The sooner we get moving, the better. I'm ready for another gym battle." May slung her bag over her shoulder, her confidence practically radiating off her. "Don't worry, I'm ready for anything. And this time, I'm definitely entering the next contest myself. No more sitting on the sidelines." "Good," Max chimed in, his grin mischievous as he adjusted his glasses. "Because I don't think Ash could survive another round of dancing lessons." "Hey, Ash snapped, spinning around to glare at Max. "I wasn't that bad." Max raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. "Ash, you tripped over your own boots during practice. Twice." "Yeah, well," Ash faltered, searching for a comeback. "At least I didn't fall during the actual performance." "Barely," Max muttered with a smirk, earning a laugh from May. "All right, you two," Brock said, stepping between them like a referee breaking up a fight. He folded the map and tucked it into his bag with a sigh. "Let's focus, okay? We've got a long road ahead of us, and I don't want to hear any bickering until at least lunchtime." Ash and Max exchanged smirks, a silent agreement to shelve their banter for now. "Deal," they said in unison, though Max gave Ash one last teasing glance that promised the argument wasn't over. The group began walking down the dirt path that led out of the city, the sound of their footsteps mixing with the chirping of wild Pokémon in the distance. Beautifully hovered gracefully above them, its wings catching the sunlight, while Pikachu perched on Ash's shoulder, its tail swaying contentedly. Max's Munchlax waddled along behind them, pausing every few feet to sniff at something or attempt, and fail, to catch a passing bug Pokémon. May fell into step beside Ash, her pace light and lively. She glanced at him out of the corner of her eye, a small smile playing on her lips. "You know," she said, breaking the comfortable silence, "this whole experience taught me something." Ash glanced at her, curious. "Oh yeah? What's that?" "That I can always count on you guys," May said, her voice warm and sincere. She looked straight ahead, her smile softening as the sunlight framed her face. "No matter what happens, I know you'll always have my back." Ash felt a slight twinge of embarrassment at the unexpected compliment, but he quickly pushed it aside, grinning at her. "Of course. That's what friends do." May's smile widened, her blue eyes sparkling with determination. "And next time, I'll be the one stepping up. You guys won't have to worry about me. I'll make sure I'm stronger than ever." Ash nodded, his grin growing. "I know you will, May. You've got what it takes to be the best." "Thanks, Ash," May said, nudging him lightly with her elbow. "But don't think I've forgotten about all that teasing. You're still not off the hook for wearing my outfit." Ash groaned loudly, throwing his hands up in mock exasperation. "Are we ever going to let this go?" "Nope," May said with a laugh. "Not a chance." Max, who had been trailing behind them, suddenly jogged up to join the conversation. "Yeah, Ash, you're never living that one down. I mean, you actually pulled it off, but come on. A skirt? That's comedy gold." Ash shot him a look. "You know, Max, I think Munchlax could use a new trainer." "Nice try," Max replied, grinning. "But I'm irreplaceable." "Nyeh. Keep telling yourself that," Ash muttered under his breath, though his smirk betrayed his amusement. Brock, walking a few steps ahead, glanced back at the group with a smile. Alright, enough about the skirt. Let's focus on what's ahead. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to getting to the next town. I hear they've got some great local dishes I've been dying to try. Brock and his food, May said, rolling her eyes playfully. Some things never change. Hey, you'll thank me when I find us the best spot to eat, Brock shot back with a grin. As the group continued down the road, the sun climbed higher into the sky, casting their shadows long and thin across the path. The air was filled with their laughter and the occasional playful argument, the kind of easygoing camaraderie that had carried them through countless adventures. For May, there was a sense of renewal in every step she took. After everything that had happened, she felt stronger, more determined, and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For Ash, it was a relief to be back on the road again, his team by his side and the promise of new battles on the horizon. Even if Max wouldn't let him live down the skirt incident, he wouldn't trade this group for anything in the world. As they walked together, the road ahead stretched out like a blank canvas, waiting to be filled with new memories, new challenges, and plenty more laughter. Whatever came next, they were ready to face it, together.